Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all the honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles, a great millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Bayat Dawadah, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad. I give you my utmost and sincere salutations, okay? So, Sunday evening camp. And Lord willing that I be edifying. So we're going to start off with the book of Philippians chapter 2 verse 12. Let me get there real quick. This is the book of Philippians chapter 2 verse 12, and it says, "Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling." Okay, so even though Yahweh Shai is not here with us, but he's with us in spirit, and so now because he's not like physically here on earth, that much more do we have to, keep these laws, statutes, and commandments and obey him to the best of our ability, that much more, okay? So we got to work out our own salvation with fear and trembling, do what we got to do for ourselves within our lot to receive salvation and mercy, okay? Okay, and it says here, verse 13, "For it is the power which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure." Okay? Again, so it says, "For it is the power which worketh in you both to will and to do." Okay? So it is by his will it's by his will that we do what we do. Okay? Verse 14, "Do all things without murmurings or disputings." No shit talk, no backbiting. Verse 15, "That ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of the Most High, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom ye shine as lights in the world." So, while we are in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, we are to be examples of righteousness, okay? We are that light that shine upon the world. We have the truth. So we have to be held to a higher standard and show ourselves, to be of that standard, to be better, to be cut above the rest. Okay? Next is going to be the book of Proverbs, the 16th chapter. Proverbs chapter 16. Proverbs 16. Verse 3, and it says, I'm going to start at the top. "The preparations of the heart in man, and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord." Okay? So the preparations of the heart, and the heart being your mind, are in man, and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. So the Lord is what gives you the Lord speaks through you, and he gives you the will to speak. So the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. So whatever comes out of your mouth, it's of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Verse 2, all the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weigheth the spirits." Okay? Remember, the Lord sees not as man sees, okay? So a man only sees the carnal. He doesn't see the spiritual, but that we see through that we have that spirit, and that we see things from a spiritual standpoint and not by carnal means. Okay, the Lord weigheth the spirits. Okay, he always sees where your mind is at. Are you focused on him, or are you focused on worldly desires? Verse 3, "Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established." Okay. Verse 4, the Lord hath made all things for himself, yeah, even the wicked for the day of evil. Okay? Verse 5, everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord, though join in hand, he shall not be unpunished. Okay, so remember, pride is one of the things that the Lord hates. And yes, even the wicked for the day of evil, that the Lord created everything for his purpose. Okay? In verse 3, where it says, commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. So, dedicate yourself to this truth. Study, do your research, read books, break down the scriptures, understand the meaning of words. Okay, I'm going to get 1 Corinthians. It's going to be 1 Corinthians chapter 9. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 24. And it says, know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain. Okay? This truth is a race, okay? We are all fighting for our crown here. Okay? Putting up videos every day, it's a race. Okay? Putting up edifying lessons, doing camp, fasting and praying and studying. This is a race to see, to obtain that crown. As Elder Amawan Gabar says, from GMS Awakening, get down for your crown. And that's what we're here to do. Okay? We're here to spread the message here. And that's part of this, that's part of the labor, the race. Okay? Putting our hand to the plow is basically a race to see how much work you've done and how true is it. How true and sincere are you to the work that you've done? Verse 25, and every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. So those who strive in this world for the mastery of this world, they do it to obtain a corruptible crown for vainglory. But we do it in incorruptible. Okay? Verse 26, I therefore so run not as uncertainly, so fight I not as one that beateth the air. Okay? Verse 27, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. Okay? So I'm going to read verse 26 again. I therefore so run not as uncertainly, so fight I not as one that beateth the air. Okay? So this truth, it's a fight. Not only is it putting our hand to plow, not only is it labor, not only is it a race, but it's also a fight, because we're fighting for that. We're fighting for perfection. Okay? We're fighting against, everything on all different levels, carnal and spiritual. In fact, let me find that scripture. It's Ephesians chapter 6. Yes, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, and it says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Okay, so we're wrestling against carnal demons and spiritual demons on all levels, okay? We deal with demons, whether they be of our family, friends, or co-workers at work, or just people in the world. And then we also got the spiritual demons who tempt us. But through the will and power of Yahweh Shemar Shai, we rebuke them and we move on. All right. Let me go back to 1 Corinthians here. Chapter 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 20. Yeah, I read all of it, Salakia. But verse 27, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be found a castaway. So that's part of, being in this truth. You have to discipline yourself, practice what you preach, lead by example, and not go off and, don't set a bad example. Be someone who sets that right example, for those that are, believers of the faith and that are listening and learning. Now we're going to go to the book of Galatians, chapter 6. Galatians chapter 6, verse 1. And it says, Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such an one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou be also tempted. So, if someone goes off and they make a mistake, and being spiritual people, we restore such one. We have to, not just rebuke him, but, also, give him comfort. Restore him to that level of humility. So that way, okay, he learned from his mistake. Now he can press forward and move on to do better and not make that mistake again. Okay, and thyself, lest thou be also tempted. So, you yourself, when you're rebuking someone or correcting somebody, you yourself cannot be, falling under temptation or allow yourself to be overtaken. Okay, verse 2, it says, bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Hamashiach. So, being in this brotherhood, we got to bear each other's burden, we got to be there for one another, understand one another what we're going through, and, try to help out as we can. Verse 3, for if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. So, you can't be high-minded, thinking that you're something, or thinking that you're better than this brother or that brother. You can't do that. That's a sign of pride. And pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Okay? And the Lord, again, he hates pride. He hates that. It's abominable to him. Verse 4, but let every man prove his own work, and then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone, and not in another. Verse 5, for every man shall bear his own burden. Okay? So, yes, we are to bear one another in each other's burdens, but at the same time, you gotta pull your own weight, stand on your own 2 feet, and deal with your problems head on. Okay? You gotta take responsibility for yourself. Okay? And you don't have to bear whatever burden that you have in your lot. You have to bear it. Okay? In verse 4, but let me go back to verse 4. But let every man prove his own work, and then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone, and not in another. So, you prove yourself by your works, your faith. Okay? Roughly paraphrasing, faith without works is dead. Okay? By having faith, you're showing, and by putting forth the actions, you're showing Yahweh Hashem Yahshai that you are true and sincere. Okay? This is the book of Colossians chapter 1, starting at verse 9. And it says, for this cause, for this cause, we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you, and to desire that ye might be filled with the knowledge of his will, and all wisdom and spiritual understanding, that ye might walk worthy of the Lord unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work, and increasing in the knowledge of Hamashiach, of the power. Salakia. Okay, so, let's see here. So, that we be fulfilled. So, that's why we do what we do, We studied 2 Timothy 2 and 15, study to show thyself approved unto the power. A workman needeth not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So we desire that ye might be fulfilled with the knowledge of his will, and all wisdom and spiritual understanding, that we might walk worthy of the Lord unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work, and increasing the knowledge of him, of the power. Okay, so this was an epistle of Paul. This was an epistle, a letter. So he wrote this letter to the brothers that are that are abroad. So just to he has a desire for us to increase in this truth. Okay, we should also have that same desire for each other to increase and to get better, and to repent and know better. Okay. Get going back to 1 Corinthians, it's going to be 1 Corinthians chapter 7. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 35. And it says, "In this I speak for your own profit, not that I may cast a snare upon you, but for that which is comely, and that you may attend upon the Lord without distraction." Okay, so let's see. So again, this is Slovakia. So this is what this is saying, is that, you know, to attend upon this truth without distraction, because there's as many distractions as there are. You know, you gotta refrain from all of that. You gotta blot them out. Okay, like let me see here. This I'm gonna go up a couple verses. Let's see. I'm gonna go up to verse 31. 1 Corinthians 7 and 31. "And they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passeth away." Verse 32. "But I would have you without carefulness. He that is unmarried careth for the things that belong to the Lord, how he may please the Lord." Verse 33. "But he that is married careth for the things that are of the world, how he may please his wife." Verse 34. "There is a difference also between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman careth for the things of the Lord, that she may be holy, both in body and in spirit. But she that is married careth for the things of this world, how she may please her husband." Okay, so, you know, there's certain things that can be a distraction from what's most important. Okay, you're supposed to put the Lord before anything else. Nothing comes before him. Okay, not your wife, not your husband, not your friends, not your pets, not your livelihood, nothing. Okay, so you're gonna have certain things in your life that are gonna be a distraction. You gotta learn to blot out those distractions, get rid of them, or work around them. You can't let nothing deter you from this. This is gonna be the book of Luke chapter 21. Oops, skipped it. Luke 21 and 34. Luke 21:34, and it says, "And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that day come upon you unawares." Verse 35, "For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth." 36, "Watch ye therefore, and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and stand before the Son of Man." Verse 37, "And in that day, and in the daytime he was..." No. So again, you know, take heed. You know, don't allow yourself to, like I said, to get distracted, or to fall into other philosophies, or to become lackadaisical or complacent, to where, you know, you mess up the consistency of what you were doing. Because once that routine is messed up, now you gotta work at it to get it going again. You know, you can't let the things of this world get in the way of what's important, which is right here. And when that happens, you know, like it says, it shall come upon you unawares. For as a snare, it shall come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. That's why verse 36, it says, "Watch ye therefore, and pray always, that ye may be counted worthy to escape." Okay, be sober, be vigilant. Okay, in fact, let me get that script, because this is not the time. We're in that time where you really have to be careful of how you carry yourself and how you deal with people, because you never know who's watching, you never know who's listening, you don't know what a person's gonna do. Verse 7, okay, 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8, and it says, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour." Okay? So you have to be mindful of your actions. You have to be aware of your surroundings and the people around you. Because Big Brother E is always watching, and you never know whose eyes and whose ears he's using to keep an eye on you, to keep track of you. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. And it says, there hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But the power is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. Okay? So the Lord is not going to give you more than what you can handle. And he's always going to give you a way to turn away from that temptation. Okay? He's like, it's basically, that's a test. Okay? Roughly paraphrasing, think it not some strange thing happen unto you. But it's the Lord. He's trying you. He's testing you to see what you're going to do and what you're going to think. How are you going to react? Okay? This life is a test. Whatever life it was, life is a test. And we've all fallen short. This is going to be the book of Galatians. This is the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 22. And it says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith. 23, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. Verse 24, and they that are Hamashiachs have crucified the flesh with the affections of and lusts. 25, if we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Okay? But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. So against such there is no law. And that is exactly what this place is. The scriptures teach us how to do this. Okay? For Romans 15:4, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and faith of the scriptures might have hope. Okay? This book was written for our learning. This is our instruction manual on how to live. Okay? Verse 26, Galatians 5:26. Let us not be desirous of vainglory, provoking one another, envying one another. Okay, so let's not seek after things of the world, though it may seem tempting to you, and really you can't let that, things of this world are not worth seeking that vainglory. It's not worth it. It means nothing. And provoking one another, don't try to stir up any strife within the body or with other fellow brothers. And also envying not one another, okay? Jealousy, okay? There's no reason to be jealous of your fellow brother, okay? We're in this together. We're all fighting for salvation here. There's no reason. Sure, some brothers may be appointed above others, but that's the lot. That's ultimately the will and power of Yahweh Hashem El Shai. They are putting that lot for a reason. It doesn't take away from you, because you're in this truth just like they are, and you're here to work together with one purpose in mind. Preach and teach the gospel. live by the gospel to the best of your ability while being in this captivity, and ultimately seek mercy and salvation. Now we're going to go to the Apocrypha. It's going to be Sirach, chapter 37, starting from the top, verse 1. Every friend saith, I am his friend also, but there is a friend which is only a friend in name. Okay, he's only known as a friend, but in name. Okay, but when it comes down to a friend in reputation, when it comes down to his actions, is he really a friend, or is he just, or was he never really your friend to begin with? In fact, verse 2, it says, is it not a grief unto death when a companion and friend is turned to an enemy? Is that not grievous? Is that not vexing when you thought someone was a friend becomes your enemy? Doesn't that make you feel some type of way? Verse 3, O wicked imagination, whence camest thou in to cover the earth with deceit? Verse 4, there is a companion which rejoiceth in the prosperity of a friend, but in the time of trouble will he be against him. Okay? This also goes into, being sober and being vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. That's not just referring to Esau, Edom. That's referring to all these other heathens, as well as the 2/3 of our own people. Sure, they may be cool. They may be cool to you for a while, but when backed into a corner, when push comes to shove, that's when a person's true character shows. That's the thing, is what are you going to do when you're backed into a corner and when everybody's against you? That's when the real you is going to show. Verse 5, there is a companion which helpeth his friend for the belly, and taketh up the buckler against the enemy. Okay? Having a brother's back. Standing up for him, helping him out. Verse 6, forget not thy friend in thy mind, and be not unmindful of him in thy riches. Okay? Remember who your true friends really are. Those that are in this truth. Lord willing. That's in part of working out your own salvation with fear and trembling, is not just, only growing in this knowledge, wisdom, understanding, but also fellowshipping and becoming more familiar and becoming closer with the brotherhood, Learning to be there for one another more, to care for one another more, to actually, be actual, like, family. Okay, and it says, verse 7, every counselor extolleth counsel, but there is some that counseleth for himself. Verse 8, beware of a counselor, and know before what need he hath, for he will counsel for himself, lest he cast a lot upon thee. Okay, so beware of someone that's listening, because at the end of the day, you never know. He could be out for himself. He could speak for himself and say those sweet words, but then again, he could turn around and say something bad about you. That's why you got to be aware of who you speak to and who you tell your business about to. Verse 9, and say unto thee, thy way is good, and afterward he stand on the other side to see what shall befall thee. Verse 10, consult not with the one that suspecteth thee, and hide thy counsel from such as envy thee. Okay? So don't associate yourself with those that act suspicious of you or that envy you. Okay? If they act weird around you, just avoid them. Verse 11, neither consult with a woman touching her, of whom she is jealous, neither with a coward in matters of war, nor with a merchant concerning exchange, nor with a buyer of selling, nor with an envious man of thankfulness, nor with an unmerciful man touching kindness, nor with the slothful for any work, nor with an hireling for a year of finishing work, nor with an idle servant of much business. Hearken not unto these in any matter. So, in any matter of counsel. But verse 12, it says, be continually with a godly man whom thou knowest, to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, being like-minded on one accord. and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. And miscarry meaning to, to go astray. It's not like miscarriage as in like, but when you look at the etymology where miscarry, it means to go astray or to go to, or come to harm. So that's what that means. But yeah, hearken not unto those that are irresponsible or given to much anger or philosophy or jealousy, or those that are lazy, or those that are built up with pride. People like that you got to avoid and have no counsel with. Neither consult with them. Don't do business with them. Don't deal with them. People like that you avoid, When they give off that certain vibe or energy, the best thing to do is just to move away from it. But, be continually with a godly man whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord. So, with a fellow brother or sister, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. Okay? So, excuse me. So, part of working out your own salvation with fear and trembling is not only, studying, fasting, praying, and doing this work with truth and sincerity, but also, being charitable. Roughly paraphrasing, giving alms covers a multitude of sins. So, those who give to the poor and needy, being merciful, that's a blessing. And the Lord will bless you for that, You get give me a moment. Let's see. Slovakia. Let me find the script that I had in mind. Okay, so this is going to be the book of Psalms, chapter 45. Psalms 45, and you start at verse 6. Thy throne, O power, is forever and ever. The scepter of thy kingdom is a right scepter. Verse 7, thou lovest righteousness and hated wickedness. Therefore thy power hath anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows. Okay? So, again, it's righteousness. Yahweh Hashem Yeshai is about righteousness. Okay? He hate wickedness. It says that, in roughly paraphrasing, the Lord is angry with the wicked every day. Okay, in fact, there's one script that people will still refuse to accept. It's the book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 13. Romans 9:13, and it says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Okay? Jacob is righteous, Esau is wicked. Okay? Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai established his covenant through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and through the 12 tribes of Israel. And it says right here, it says, this is Psalms chapter 139, starting at verse 18. If I should count them, they are more in number than the sand. When I awake, I am still with thee. 19, surely thou wilt slay the wicked, O power. Depart from me, therefore, ye bloody men. Talking about Esau, Edom. Verse 20, for they speak against thee wickedly, and thine enemies take thy name in vain. 21, do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee? And am not I grieved with those that rise up against thee? Verse 22, I hate them with a perfect hatred. I count them mine enemies. So to hate the wicked is righteousness. Do we hate Esau, Edom? Yes. Do we hate all these abominable acts that are going on right now? Yes. So, as I said before, growing in the truth. This is part of it. Just knowing righteousness, studying, and growing stronger with the brotherhood. This is part of the this truth, man. And I hope that this was an edifying camp unto the body and to those that are new coming in, listening and learning with all sincerity. I like to give all the honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bahamash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles, a great millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Bayatha Dabadad, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad, I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. See you on the next lesson, Lord willing. Kwam Yasharala, Wa Abababal, Shalawam, Barakatham.